All right, hello everyone, and peace of Christ to all of you. Please invite your friends and share the link with whoever you wish. And don't forget to download the video right after we finish. And if you like our video, please give it a like. If you don't like it, don't forget to give it dislike. For sure, if you are a Muslim, you will not like this video. Now, I saw somebody making a post saying that Islam make a lot of sense. So I wanted to do a little comment about that. And maybe later in the podcast, um, which is going to be afternoon in USA time, New York time, we will go into the details. When a Muslim he says that Islam make a lot of sense, I can't tell. I mean, look, in the day of resurrection, Allah will display in front of us billions of women, and He will ask us, pick up whatever you wish. I mean, that make a lot of sense. Allah is a God who is a vendor of sex. He have a display and he will provide us with all the options of women. He will say, look, do you see all those millions and millions of women? Pick up whatever you wish. In the day of resurrection, he will be asked to choose any of the version of his liking. And I have to confess, Islam make a lot of sense. So if I pray to a God, if I believe in that God, then in the day of that God, he will have billions of women in front of me. He say, hey, Christian Prince, pick up whatever you wish. And then I will start picking up. And I will bring trucks after trucks after trucks, and I will shuffle them all to my house. I mean, that is really making a lot of sense. We cannot deny that. If you deny that, obviously you are suffering from mental issue. When a Muslim speak about Islam, makes sense. Does that include that in the heaven of Allah, the virgin, they will be cursing my wife in earth if she hurt me? The Prophet of Allah said, whenever a woman harm her husband, yeah, what will happen? Her husband in this world, without a do-right. You can harm your husband in a do-right. Okay. I thought only Muslim man can beat his wife. His wife among the houris, in the Jannah, she will say, you must not harm him. May Allah destroy you. May Allah destroy you. He's only passing there. He's a guest for you. He's coming here to me. So my wife in earth, she did something wrong with me. My wives in heaven, who I do not know them, they are just for sex, she will be cursing my wife. And she will say to her, shame on you. Shame on you to harm my husband. He's just there as a guest. May Allah curse you. May Allah make you falafel. Well, that's so good. And that make a lot of sense. By the way, she is saying that to who? If nobody can hear her anyway. She's talking to herself in the mirror. And this wife now in the heaven, she is waiting there for thousands and thousands of years, waiting for me. I mean, when the judgment day will be? Muhammad, he died 1400 years ago. So a guy who his wife harmed him in the time of Muhammad, his wife until now, she is waiting for him after 1400 years in her room, and she is jailed. Remember, the Quran says that they will be restrained in their rooms and they cannot see anyone. Make a lot of sense. What makes sense more than Islam? I mean, we have to be honest here. The Prophet said, because the Prophet, he encouraged peace, he loved peace. This is why he asked the Muslim to shed their blood. The murderer has 6 things in a store. What? The murderer, like Osama bin Laden, he have 6 things in the store with Allah. He is forgiven from the first drop of his blood is shed. What? So I can do whatever I want, and then because I got killed fighting for Muhammad, all my sin is gone. So Muhammad is saying to me, in exchange of your life, we will forgive you. Just die for me. And that makes sense. Muhammad himself, he don't want to die for you, you die for him. You die for Muhammad, you get all your sin forgiven. A promise in the future which nobody will see. And then the second he die, Allah will show him his place in the heaven. Like right away, let me show you your apartment. Brother Osama, let me show you your apartment in heaven. And then after that, he is spared of the torment of the grave. And here is different story. It makes sense that Islam believe that when you go to the grave, there's two angels will come and they will have with them a hammer, and the hammer is made from steel, and they will ask you three questions. First, who is your God? You say Allah. You pass this one. Then they ask you, what is your religion? Then you say Islam. You pass this one. And they will show you a picture of the Prophet Muhammad. They will ask you, who is this guy? You will say Prophet Muhammad. If you answer those three questions correctly, you will pass. Now, I mean, what the punishment at the grave, you idiot? As long as he is a Muslim and he will answer the three questions correctly. So what punishment of the grave? Hello? And then he is kept safe from the great fight. Great fight, the guy is dead. He kept safe from the great fight. And then Allah will warp him with garment made of faith. Have you ever heard of that? And then Allah, he will marry him to the huri, the sexual gift, the sex toys of Allah. I mean, that make a lot of sense. It makes sense that the first group, they will enter heaven, Allah will make them very white. That makes sense. Not only that, in chapter 27 verse number 82, if you read the interpretation, you will see that Allah will make all the non-believers black and all the believers white. Even in the hadith in at-Tirmidhi, Muhammad, he says Allah created the people who they are black to go to hell, and he created the white ones to go to heaven. And that makes sense. What a disgusting cult. The Prophet said the first batch of the people who will enter paradise will be exhilarating. Actually, they will be shining from whiteness. And Muhammad here is saying that the first one is more shiny, like a moon. Muhammad, he think the moon is more shiny than a star, as you see. This is what he think, that a star is not shiny like the moon. Read it. Then Muhammad, he promised us in the heaven that in this heaven we will have women who they are so white, because those Arab, and I am an Arab, we know they are obsessed with women who they are so white. So Muhammad, he knew what the Arab like, so he promised them women you can see through the marrow of their bones. As you see, you will see they are white to the point, beautiful, transparent. What make them transparent? Because so white. You know, a very white person, you can see the vein under his skin. The more white you are, even we can see the blood. That is not a secret. So Muhammad saying to them, because they are so white, even to the point they are going to be transparent, to the point you can see the marrow of their bones being seen through the bones and the flesh. And if you think about it, that make a lot of sense. I mean, why not? All of us would like to have this. Who don't? Let us be honest. Who can resist this gift of God? We cannot. All of us, we want to have this. This is not something we can resist. It makes sense. It makes sense that Muhammad, he said that if the man have orgasm first, the baby will be a boy, and if the woman have orgasm first, the baby will be a girl. It makes sense that the reason you resemble your parent, a man or a woman, who of them comes first. It makes sense that Muhammad, he said that the sperm stay inside the women for 50 days. It makes sense. It makes sense that in the heaven of Allah, we are going to be sitting in a couch. The translation here is throne. The fact it doesn't say throne, it say actually beds. We will be laying down in our beds, and those beds are ranks together. And we will make them have sex with females who they are very white. Makes sense. It makes sense that we will have as much meat to eat as we wish. I mean, come on, Allah have an open buffet. That make a lot of sense. And this is a clear proof that Allah must be God. Otherwise, how he can afford it to feed all those people meat and fruits as much as you desire? It makes sense that you will drink wine, but you will not get drunk. It makes sense that around us in heaven we will have 80,000 little boys serving us. 80,000 little boy. It makes sense. It will show the hadith so the Muslims will not say we are making things up. Excuse me. The least of people of paradise in position is the one with 80,000 servant. But those servants are what? They are boys. 80,000 servant, they are boys. It makes sense. And you are telling me Islam does not make sense? The God of Islam, he teach that in his heaven we have a child abuse. That makes sense. So in order to make me happy, you abuse 80,000 little boy, and that's all to make me happy. 80,000 little child will be enslaved for eternity, and they will go around me to serve me, as the Muslims claim, not for sex. But I believe it is for sex. What kind of God? He want to abuse 80,000 little one to serve me doing what? What 80,000 little boy will serve me to do? What exactly I will do with them? Especially the Muslim, they say, and we can show tons of reference, that in heaven if you wish something is going to be in front of you right away without servants. If you look at the bird flying in the sky, you see subhanallah, the bird will be cooked and served in front of you, not the servant will bring it. In the heaven of Allah, you will never get dirty. You will never need a clothes because your clothes will never be ruined. You will wear green silk forever and you will never take a shower. So what the servant for? There's no garbage, there's no poo-poo, there's no piss. So what the servant will do? It makes sense, my friend. Islam make a lot of sense. It makes sense that the size of your bedroom is the distance from Damascus in Syria all the way to Yemen. It makes sense. It makes sense that Allah will torture people by inserting a chain in their anus. That make a lot of sense. For sure, we have to admit that Islam makes sense. It makes sense, my friend, that in the heaven of Allah, all of us, we will be wearing a green clothing for eternity. It makes sense that the heaven of Allah, at the end of the time, it's called Adan, Eden. I thought Eden is gone. Allah is mixing things up. It makes sense that in the heaven of Allah, we are going to wear a bracelet of gold. I cannot wait. By the way, in different verse, Allah, he says we will wear a bracelet of silver, because Muhammad, he forgot what he promised before. It makes sense that you are desperately looking to go to heaven, and in the heaven you will wear a bracelet of gold. What is the value of gold in heaven? What is the value, and what kind of a clothing, how boring it is that I will wear a bracelet of gold sitting in a couch, and I will be wearing a green garment made of fine silk, which is made in Iran. You see, the translation here is not really accurate. In Arabic it says wastabraq. وَيَلْبِسُونَ ثِيَابَ خُضْرٍ مِنْ سُنْدُسٍ وَاسْتَبْرَقٍ. Istabraq, this word here, is a fabric made in Iran in the time of Muhammad, and it was very expensive. It's like today promising somebody, I will give you Gucci. I mean, it makes sense that Allah, he gave us a brand clothing. How silly, how stupid. God, he promised me Gucci. Can't he make his own brand? At that time, the Iranian, they were kuffar, so Allah will take istabraq from the kuffar, from the infidels, and he will give it to me from them. How silly. The God, he promised me I will be reclining on my couch. That's amazing. That's so good to be true. It makes sense that every one of us would have two heavens. Every one of us will have two heaven. And in the heaven we will have palm trees. And we will have a grape, no coconut, sorry, and no banana. I know some of you is disappointed. Muhammad, he never heard about the coconut, never heard about the banana. Otherwise, he will make a song and he will add it to the Quran. It's called Banana Joe. It makes sense. I am truly convinced that Islam make a lot of sense. It makes sense that the Quran says the women have a sperm coming from the location of her necklace, and the man have a sperm coming from the backbone, and my backbone is hurting me. That makes sense. It makes sense that Allah don't remember which one he created first, the water, the trees, the grass, or the stars. It makes a lot of sense. It makes sense that Allah, he want to spread hatred and enmity, specifically between the Christians, because Allah is a good God. Allah want to save us. How he save us? He spread hatred and enmity. That make a lot of sense. That will fix us, supposedly, will make us better people by spreading hate between us. That makes sense. So if Allah spread the hatred, who is the devil? It makes sense that Islam is peace, but Allah forbid Muslims from taking Christians and Jews as a friends, which means they have to take us as enemies. Chapter 5, verse number 51. As an example. That makes sense. Islam is peace. Take not the Christians and the Jews as a friends, protectors, helpers, etc., for they are friends to each other, and the one of you who take them as a friend, he is one of them. A pure teaching of hate and division. So a Muslim now, he cannot take me as a friend because he have always to take me as an enemy. And what is the reason? I'm a Christian. It makes sense. It makes sense that a Muslim cannot even take his own father and brother as friends if they are not Muslims. That make a lot of sense. Chapter 9 verse number 23. Pure hatred and disgusting. It makes sense that the God of Islam, he teach us that women are less than us, and therefore we are in charge because we spend money from our property on them. Therefore it is right for us to beat them if they disobey us. You know what? In America, if you beat a dog, you go to jail. Does it make sense to you that American giving more right to women, oh sorry, to dogs more than right to women in Islam? Men are protectors of and maintainers of women because Allah made one of them excel on the others, and because they spend their money to support them. So I spend money on you, I own you. You are my slave. From their means, therefore, righteous women is the one devoted, obedient to Allah and their husband, and guard husband abstinence what Allah ordered them to guard. Okay, as those women whose part you see ill conduct. Now here the Muslim, by the way, they might say to you, what if your wife is a cheating? A woman, she is a cheating in Islam. If she is married, the punishment is a stoning. This is not about a cheating. Stop lying. And you can go and open any interpretation. You will see this is about a woman. You fear that she is maybe disobeying you. Like you say to her, make some tea for me, and she say, okay. Sound like she is not really excited to do it for you. Then you beat her. Admonish them. And look, the Muslim try to make it nice. They say first, they say next, they say third. It's a big fat lie. And then they add lightly. What a big fat lie. Nowhere in the Quran it says lightly. Actually, Muhammad, a woman, she came to him. Her husband, he did beat her until her skin became greener than her clothing. What Muhammad did? He took the side of the man against her, and actually he gave him this verse. If you change the translation of the verse right away, and I'm talking about translation between two Muslims, look what happened. All the first, the second, the third disappear, and all the lightly disappear, and we have here what? Scourge them. And it makes sense, by the way, that Muslims don't give an honest translation, because the point of the English translation of the Quran is deception. That makes sense. What else makes sense in Islam? It makes sense that Allah will punish you in the grave because of your urine. That makes sense. Have you ever heard of a God who will torture you in the grave because of your urine? That make a lot of sense. Watch your urine. Your urine can be really very painful for you. You will pay a very high price for it. Actually, I made a surgery, so I will never do urine. I'm downloading urine these days, just for security and safety. I don't want to go to the grave and then I will be tortured because of urine. You see, Muhammad had no problem that he have sexual relationship with the child, and his God will not torture him for that, but his God will torture him for urine. And it makes sense that Muhammad married Aisha at the age of 6, and the Muslim, they say she was mature. That make a lot of sense. I heard that Aisha, she was dating at the age of 4. Some they say that Aisha, she was joining Facebook at the age of 2, and she was flirting with men at the age of 2 and 1 day. It makes sense. It makes sense that a person who is 54 years old, he have a sexual desire to a child like Habiba, which was an infant. It makes sense. It makes sense that Muhammad, he said that in the heaven of Allah, Allah will give us a lot of women for sex, and not only that, our private part will never go soft. That make a lot of sense. It makes sense that Allah will import from the heaven hookers. Allah will import 70 from the inheritance from the people of hell. What is the qualification of those 70? They have a desirable front passages. I mean, come on, that make a lot of sense. They have nice boobs, nice nice bum. I mean, come on, I'm not going to give you details. Allah will import from the hookers. This is why they are people of hell, because they are professional in sex. He will take them from hell and he will send them to you. He say, hey, Abdul, brother Osama bin Laden, those are your gift from me. I took them from hell for you. They are very good in bed, and all of them, they have a very desirable front passages. In the top of that, it makes sense. Allah, he promised us, you will have a male member that will never become flaccid. Imagine you are buying, you own a four-wheel drive and Jeep, and then you have four tires who they are flat. That's not good. Allah will provide you with the private part. I'm just trying to be polite, not to use that word. And your private part will be like boing all the time. You will never be disappointed. And here between two brackets, the Muslim, they are trying to help us to understand, if in case we are slow, i.e. soft and limp. Thank you, Allah. I was worried to go to heaven, and then I got a private part which is soft and limp, and yet there's hundreds of women, they want to jump on me. What I will do then? That's very embarrassing. What? Tell them come tomorrow? Tell them I'm busy with the internet? What excuse I will do? I have 80,000 little boys serving me. Food is ready, and I am doing nothing in heaven. And now they want to sleep with me, but yet this guy is not working. Don't worry. Be happy. So my friend, we have to agree that Islam make a lot of sense. I wanted this video not to be long, so you guys, you can download it, share it around, and we will be back on air at 3:30 p.m. today afternoon in New York time. So invite your friends and tell them, and we will be here later. I want to say thank you for being here, guys. Please don't forget to download this video, share it around. Don't share the link, download the video. This video will not stay here for long. And if you like to learn more about Islam, especially what we mentioned about sexuality, you can get my books, Sex and Allah, which is a very, very, very priceless book. Have tons and tons of reference about sexuality in Islam, which is nothing really but religion about sex. Or you can read many of my books, which is in Amazon.com or France, depend on your location. Search for Christian Prince books and you will find many of them in many languages: Spanish, French, Dutch, Swedish, you name it. I want to say thank you. May the Lord bless you, and until we see you later again today, Christ is Lord. And only thing makes sense, that you have to be stupid to believe in nonsense like Islam. Thank you. Take care.